What does paying yourself first even mean?
According to me, paying myself first means repaying myself because I've worked so hard, month long, and so I feel like I need to pay myself by saving up for that vacation, and also I think another way that I pay myself is by always contributing money towards our savings club. We have a savings club with my best friends. And we have objectives by the end of the year.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Hi guys.
Hello.
Welcome back to the channel. Today I have a guest. Well, this is not a new guest. It's a second episode actually. She's my beautiful wife. And you'll see her in many of my videos from now onwards actually. So we've decided to do things together to build, intimacy,
on finances,
whatever. Actually, we won't be talking only about finances on this channel with her. So let's get on with it. One of the oldest rules in personal finance is that you pay yourself first. But still, to most of us, this rule is still an afterthought. But everyone is talking about it. If you have read any personal finance books, you will find this rule or it will be talked about. Every person who cares about personal finance actually talks about paying yourself first. I bet even your grandmother at some point has once told you to save money for the rainy day. I don't know. Some grannies know things than others, I guess. But this is a rule that we actually come across a lot in personal finance. So in today's video, we will be talking about paying yourself first and how to do it so that you can save your money effortlessly. So I'll start by asking her a question. What does even paying yourself first mean?
According to me, paying myself first means repaying myself because I've worked so hard, month long, and so I feel like I need to pay myself by saving up for that vacation, and also I think another way that I pay myself is by always contributing money towards our savings club. We have a savings club with my best friends. And we have objectives by the end of the year.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So that is paying myself so that I can enjoy myself. I mean, we work so hard and I feel like we need to reward ourselves to stay motivated.
Yeah. Well, she's good, she's good. I thought I was going to trick her with these questions and I'd be the star of the whole thing, but I feel like she's taking all the shine. But anyway, I love it. So paying yourself first, yes, is putting money aside for yourself. But the component of first simply means you have to do it before you pay anybody else because, as she said, we work so hard. Our bodies, our minds, we overexert ourselves in our jobs, So we have to actually reward ourselves. But I find that it could be a little bit confusing to some people that when we speak about rewarding ourselves, paying oneself first could mean to other people spending money on, having fun and things like this. But I see that as an expense that you should have. It's actually called guilt-free spending, You can actually have that in your budget. But paying yourself first is quite important because it's about advancing yourself. It's also about protecting your financial well-being and protecting your loved ones from, hardships. So saving towards big things. Let's say maybe you want to save and, I don't know, do what? What are things you could save for? But things like retirement savings. You want to own property at some point. So you're saving for a deposit to, what's that? Or even a car, But saving or paying yourself first in the form of saving money or investing it long-term or short-term, it's actually a way to pay yourself first, you see. And you have to do it before anybody else. So even when you're writing your budget down, make sure that the money that you're saving comes before everything else. Like it's a selfish process. and it helps because it empowers you, you know. Yeah.
I have a question.
Okay.
So how is me rewarding myself at the end of the month by shopping for a few clothes, going out with the girls, or rewarding myself however I feel like,
Like paying yourself.
yeah, like I'm paying myself. How is it different from saving? Because I feel like you are stressing so much, like you're making an emphasis on savings.
Yeah. Like I said, it should be a lifestyle expense. If you like going out with your friends once every month, budget for that. Have it in your spending plan, which is simply your budget. Okay? Do it in a way that is consistent and spend it that way. That is simply an expense because that's what happens with all expenses. And I'm saying it's a lifestyle thing because it's a life you choose to live. You could also choose not to go out once every month. You could choose to go out once every 6 months, which would be quite a bummer, right? But if you want to do it every month, plan for it, budget for it. And as I said, paying yourself first carries a heavy weight, It's an important thing to do. It helps with your future. It helps you. So actually the next question was, why pay yourself first? And I feel like she's making me double into why you should pay yourself first. But as I just alluded now, paying yourself first is simply securing your future. So things like putting money aside for emergencies could count as you paying yourself first. Because if you are going to prioritize spending money, having fun over putting money aside for the rainy day, when the rainy day comes, you won't even remember that you had shampoo with your girl somewhere, right? So it's very important to actually put money aside for emergencies. And that would simply be the reason, one of the real reasons, because it's about your future. It's about the unforeseen circumstances that you may find yourself in the near future. Your car tire bursting or your house roof now leaking. So you have some money to fall back on. You don't have to actually even go into debt. So if you are in the habit of paying yourself first, things like debt won't even come your way.
So walk me through this. What is your ideal budget? So if I have to pay myself first, what does that mean? At the top of my budget list, I always have to prioritize myself. What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Your future, right? Your future. Be it in the sense of an emergency fund or in the sense of retirement savings or retirement annuities or investments, right? Those are all falling under paying yourself first. So this would simply mean you would do it before everything else.
Okay. All right.
So just to list these reasons in a more concise manner, the reasons why you should actually be paying yourself first is that when you pay yourself first, you are prioritizing saving. It's like a psychological thing. If you teach your mind or make it a habit to save money, you will find yourself in favorable situations even when other people find it hard because you have money saved. If you were to lose a job and you have an emergency fund that is enough to carry you through 6 months, that would simply mean you don't have to look for a job for 6 months. How many people are able to say that? Quite few. So if you could manage to pay yourself first and build an emergency fund that when you get fired from your job or somehow you lose your income, there's money that is worth 6 months where you could just relax and say, you know what, I'm not even going to apply for any jobs. I've got 6 months. That's what paying yourself first can do. As just one example. Taking it further, you are able to say, you're able to invest, you're able to, create generational wealth, right? To a point where 50 years down the line, your descendants, which are simply kids of your kids, are still enjoying the fruits of your labor and your savingness when it comes to money. So it's quite important to prioritize saving. So also, it helps you develop good financial habits. It helps you develop good financial habits because this is where you know that, before I actually use all this money and give it to other people whom I owe or go and buy whatever nice thing that I want, I am going to do something for myself, which is a very good financial habit, That's why sometimes I like to say, be selfish. Think about yourself first, but still cover those bills. Pay that debt or that minimum payment if you are not accelerating paying off your debt. Whatever it is that you have to do, be a responsible adult. Pay off everything that you need to pay off every month, but still have some money to put aside as paying yourself first, saving, investing, the likes of that.
So, in my understanding, what you're saying is that paying yourself first also reinforces discipline
Yeah.
within a person, because
Yes.
if you know that, okay, I got to save, I have to put up money for investments instead of,
Going out every Friday.
going out every Friday.
Not that going out every Friday is bad.
not- yeah,
if
it's not.
if it's within your means and it's in your budget and you've thought thoroughly about it,
Why
nothing-
not?
There's nothing bad. And I think maybe we need to get out of the habit of thinking having fun all the time is bad. It's not. As long as it's planned for, it's good actually.
Or sometimes you can be spontaneous.
Wow. Mrs. Spontaneous. She loves spontaneity when it comes to money, and it's terrible, in my opinion. As you know, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not Mr. Know-it-all, I don't know everything. But it becomes a problem to become spontaneous because it means you're not following your budget. Unless you've budgeted for your spontaneity. You can have miscellaneous spending in your budget or the guilt-free spending. Then if you have that in your budget, of course,
Why not?
why not?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think I have talked about, okay, but also when you pay yourself first, you become prepared for money emergencies that we have talked about. The Giza best. I have money to pay for that. Or, actually, a good way to do it is actually have insurance, have contents and the structure insured. When your roof leaks or whatever happens, simply claim from insurance. That could be another way, but you would still be paying the insurance monthly, you see. So you have those two options. You can save up money for these emergencies, or, subscribe to an insurance and insure your property. You'll be fine. Or you could do both. So the next question is, how do you pay yourself first? Because people will say, look, once my salary hits my bank account, the bank has taken, so much money, and whatever clothing account I have has pulled or has debited my account. So how do I do it first before everything? What do you think on that?
How do I do it first? First of all, I have to budget
Okay.
and know how much money I make or how much money is going to click at the end of the month. And I mean, I don't know how possible it is to pay yourself first if you have debts and things like that. So I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, well, that one is a bit, shaky. There's so many opinions on this. Some people believe if you have debt, you shouldn't be saving. Some people say, you know what, pay off your debt and still save if you're able to. So let's say you go for the idea of you being able to pay yourself first while you have debt. But you see, if you had prioritized saving, you probably won't even be in this debt that you're in, because your money habits would have been good to a point where you would not even need this debt because you'd have money saved up, you see. So, but let's say you have debt and you are still able to put aside some money for saving or for investing. What you would simply do is make sure that this money immediately when it hits your account, it also goes out. So it's automated, right? You could set with your bank account or on your banking app to have the money sent somewhere. So if you are investing and you're using the company that we use, Easy Equities, you are able to actually set a debit order. So just like the bank would take money from your account, Easy Equities will take the money from your account as well and allocate it to the investments that you have chosen. So that's simply how to do it first. So if it's not done digitally, it could become a little bit tricky, but it's quite simple to simply have it pulled off, and in that manner, you're not even able to see that the money is gone. You see, the money comes in, and the money you're investing goes out. The money from that the bank needs goes out as well. But you know that I'm covered because I have invested. Although I may have 10 cents in my account, I've saved or I've invested towards something I really value.
Okay. So this sort of brings me to the conclusion that it's very important to always have money set aside for savings instead of, spending, and then whatever amount is left, then you say, I will channel this to my savings account.
Exactly. That is why it has to happen first, because if you let everything else go off and you're paying everybody else first, the problem is that all your money could get depleted, You could spend it haphazardly or spend it in a way that is irresponsible, because now it is still with you. As human beings, it will be month end, people are in and out with scooters, ordering food. In our neighborhood, there's a lot of scooters going around.
Peer pressure.
Yeah, so you could feel like, you know what, I want some fast food right now. And the money that you thought you'd use to pay yourself is gone, right? So another way is that people spend money, and think there'll be money left over, only to find that money is not left over, because that happens actually when you don't have a budgeting habit, right? If you have a budgeting habit, then you'd know how much you have and how much you are able to save or not save. You would know all this. So out of all this, the most important thing is to have a budget. And you talked about it to say you have to know how much money you're making, how much money is going to hit your account. That is very important. If you don't know how much money you're going to actually get, it's a problem, because you don't know how much is going to go where and do what. You're just going to have money coming out of your account until you try to swipe somewhere and it's declined, right? So you have to make sure that you know how much is coming in. So then you are actually sure that, even if I pull out this amount of money to pay myself first, I will not jeopardize anything else. All my bills will be paid, everything will be covered, and I will have still paid myself. So it's very important to do it first for this reason, to avoid any discrepancies.
So you said this is a very old law.
Yeah.
What does this law recommend? How much of our money are we supposed to...
Yeah. So there's this book I read many moons ago. I say this as if I'm an old man. Whatever. It's called The Richest Man in Babylon, and it's actually an ancient, well, let me not say ancient, but it's an old book. So in this book, this is what it says exactly. Part of what you make is yours to keep. Part of what you make is yours to keep.
Okay.
And that's why I take this thing very seriously, that to keep, not to spend, to keep. And keeping is not spending. Keeping is saving, withholding, investing. It's still yours. It's just put aside somewhere safely. So it is very important that you understand that part of what you make is yours to keep all the time. Do not forget that. And it is recommended that you do not keep or put aside for yourself or pay yourself less than 1/10 of what you make, which is simply 10%.
Okay.
So if you want to save, you want to invest, do not put anything less than 10%, right? 10%, I feel like it's little enough to manage, but also it's doable, but also it's enough to make a change. If you put aside 10% of what you make each month, by the end of the year, you'll have put away quite a nice sum of money. And if you invest in that money, it will have already gained some interest, some compound interest. And if you keep doing this all your working years or all your earning years, then it will be a good thing towards your future.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
no problem.
Which financially recognized institutions would you recommend people invest in, so that they don't just say, I'm saving my money and it's in a bank account and we know we've got inflation.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, the first thing is that if you are paying yourself first and you are saying you're investing, do not keep your money in your bank account. If it's money that is meant for your future, it shouldn't be in your bank account. The reason is that it will be eaten up by inflation, and inflation is simply the fluctuation or the increase in prices of commodities and and goods. So the value of your money sort of decreases over time. So if you leave it in a bank, it's more like it's just sitting on the shelves there gathering dust, because the banks actually give you an interest less than inflation. So inflation eats your money up faster than the bank can give you interest. But investments help. So recognized institutions, Easy Equities is one of them. There's so many, but we use Easy Equities, where you buy shares, where you can buy retirement annuities, where you can also have access to tax-free savings, right? So yeah, that's what we use. I wouldn't get inclined towards recommending institutions for you. I believe anytime you're going to invest your money, it's best to do your own research, and also remember that investing of any form has its own risks, and you need to understand everything before you invest. But the most important thing is that you don't just listen to guys like myself and my wife and now jump in and say, oh, Easy Equities is the one. No, there are many. Like I said, I just don't have them on the tip of my tongue right now because it's not what we use. So yeah, but actually we have covered even how to overcome the challenge of saving, the automation of savings, or simply setting a debit order towards your savings is quite a good way. Yeah, a very, very good one. Yeah, we hope that you guys find this content very valuable and helpful, or maybe it reminds you what you already know, because sometimes as people we tend to forget things that we actually know. And there's this other book that I read, it's actually called Manage Your Money Like a Fucking Grown Up. And the lady, the author of this book, says we have monkey brains. And at first I was like, what is this lady saying? Monkey brains? Yeah, so we have monkey brains. Our brains become very smart for a split second there, and then after that it's just a monkey brain, dumb brain, because all of a sudden you're the one wanting ice cream when you can't afford it, you're the one wanting fast food, that's why you're going to credit card debt, and now you have loans left, right and center. So we really have monkey brains. So it is very important to simply overcome our monkey brains by automating our savings, and this will help us overcome the challenge of saving. Yeah.
Okay.
If you find all this information valuable, please subscribe to this channel. Also, leave a comment and a like.
Interact.
This would help our channel grow, and it will show us that what we are putting out there towards you guys is valuable and appreciated, or actually it's information that you wanted to hear, and that will motivate us to keep making content like this, because we like sharing things we have learned, and we simply learned all this by reading books, nothing much, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, see you in the next video, guys. It will still be with my wife, if she doesn't, run away. Anyway, bye, guys.
Bye.